it's not my fault.
Okay, let's get into the makeup. So I really don't know what type of look I'm going for today, but we're just going to start doing something to this face and see what happens. So I just arched my brows just a little bit, but I'm going to start off by prepping and priming my skin. I'm just going to use the Max Fix Plus. And then I'm going to go in with the NYX Honey Do Me Up. I really like using this primer. I like the way it makes my foundation look under my skin. I've had this literally sitting in my drawer for like 2 months. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just try something different. And so I just used it and girl, I was obsessed. I feel like it's been so long since I have done like a sit down talk through makeup tutorial. So excuse me if I sound a little awkward because I really am. But then I am going to just prime the oily parts of my face. I love to use this e.l.f. Putty Primer. And I'm just going to use that directly underneath of my eyes, actually. Right in the creases of my nose. And then on my smile lines. I don't really get too oily on my forehead or my chin. And I actually kind of like the dewiness that happens, well, literally the oil that happens later on throughout the day as like your makeup wears a little bit. But I just like to make sure that those places are nice and primed up. Brows are literally so annoying to do on camera because y'all do not care. But I'm gonna do it for you guys anyway. So the brand that I am using, the pencil is super small, so I have to read it off of the other one. But this is the Go Brow Eyebrow Pencil. I actually got this brow pencil at the beauty supply store, girl, literally like $2. But when I tell you, your brow will not go anywhere throughout the day. And I love the color ranges that they have too. I'm also just a fan of brow pencils just because they last longer and I know exactly how much product is in my hand. Like I can sharpen this down to the nub and I probably will. Honestly, I'm just going to fast forward through the brows because, I mean, it's not really much to explain. The routine is always the same. So yeah, I'm gonna just fast forward. Oh, but I will say that I do like to use a lighter brown on my brows just because, I don't know, I don't really like matching the darkness of my natural brow hairs just because I feel like it just looks too harsh for my face. Like I definitely think that lighter brows look a lot better on me. So I just go a little bit lighter with the brow pencil, and that's definitely a trick that you can do too because your natural brow hairs will already give it that, whoa, that brow is high. Hold on. Sheesh. That arch was so high. Ew. Okay, the brows are filled in and now I'm just going to clean them up. I'm going to use my favorite concealers, all-time favorite. If you guys follow me on my Instagram, which you should, if you do not, I will leave my Instagram handle somewhere on the screen. But I am, definitely a lot more active on there. And it's just more like daily activities of just my life as a makeup artist. And I'm always putting products and stuff that I love on there. So definitely check your girl out. But I literally rave about these concealers to everyone all the time. When I tell you they have become my like new favorite thing, my fave. So I'm just using the shade Deep Olive right here in the beginning of my brow just to clean up. And then I also like to go in with a lighter shade on just my brow bone because I like to just accentuate the brow bone with the highlight as opposed to taking that lighter shade straight across. It just makes it look a lot more natural, a little bit less harsh in pictures also. So I'm just going to apply this. I feel like everyone kind of like got the hang of brows by now, but I know there's still some people who are just starting out. Okay, but do you guys notice the quality of this video right now? Let me know if you guys notice the difference. Your girl finally got a new phone. I was going to get a camera, but I was going back and forth. I was like, okay, should I get a camera or should I get a new phone? But here's the thing. The phone that I originally had, I had an iPhone 7 Plus, and I am not the type of person to really care about like how up to date my phone is. I'm like, if it works, it works. It's whatever. But when I tell you, it was just time. Like, it was just time. I needed a new phone. I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to do any like sit down talking to you guys videos. I was recording some vlogs, but because the speaker on my old phone literally gave out, you guys. Like, when I was trying to record on front camera on regular video, it was sounding like super muffled, almost as if like I dropped it in water. But I did drop my phone a couple times, so it's probably my fault. But hey, I needed a new phone, so I ended up just, my phone was definitely due for an upgrade anyway, so it cost absolutely like next to nothing just to get this new phone. But now I get to kill two birds with one stone because I got a new phone now. I can give you guys content and I could be up to date. And it was very, very much so necessary. If you know me, you know that I'm definitely not one to be caring about materialistic things whatsoever at all. I promise you. I will ride the wheels till they fall off of something. Do not care. But yes, let me know down in the comments if you see the difference in the quality. I hope y'all do, because I like this phone. I don't know what else to say. I'm like, because I like this phone, and so I want y'all to like it too. Okay, anyways, I'm just gonna speed up during this little process too. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you guys what shades I was using. So I mixed white sand with light beige. I usually just use light beige as my brow bone highlight, but lately that's been looking a little bright on my skin. And it's definitely because I am tanning up out here in this Arizona heat. So I'm definitely gonna have to go a little bit darker on my foundation, but I'm just going to pack all that in on the lid. And if you were wondering why I choose to use concealer instead of like an eyeshadow primer, one, because it gives me the amount of pigment that I need, and then two, it also just, it blends better, and the product for me just sticks a little bit better too. So that is why. It's really just preference. But now that that is all on, I'm gonna go in with the Juvia's Place Kalahari I Am Magic setting powder, and I'm only gonna use this on my brow bone just to set that brow bone highlight. And this is also going to help once we start to blend in the shadows, to make sure that they don't stick to this wet concealer that's in the brow bone. What kind of look should I do, you guys? What the heck? I'm asking like you guys can tell me right now, but I really don't know. Yeah, I should really just like switch it up. I should wow you guys. Maybe one day. Maybe today's not that day though. I think I want to do something with like yellow and sunsets and stuff like that. So I'm definitely feeling like a sunset bronzy something or other. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do this look with using as minimal eyeshadow palettes as possible, but that may or may not work out, but we will see. So I'm going to start off with the Jaclyn Hill #2 palette. I need to get her original palette again because that was my all-time favorite. That was a go-to of mine. This is literally going to be a full walkthrough of how I just create looks in my head, because when I tell you guys, I really don't know what type of look I'm going to do. Like, just looking at all these colors, what the heck? Okay, I'm gonna start off with Homeboy because I do want to do this sunset eye. Homeboy is this really pretty burnt orange color, so I'm gonna start off by buffing that into my crease. I am gonna use like a mixture of packing and buffing motions just because I don't want to disrupt this wet concealer that we have as our base. So I'm just gonna tilt my head back a little bit and then just start packing, focusing that towards the outer corner of my eye first, and then packing that inwards. I have a mirror right in front of me, so it definitely helps to have a mirror directly in front of you. And then I'm also going to use like a small handheld mirror, but just so you can see like the different angles and make sure that you are blending correctly, because there is nothing worse than thinking you're applying shadow one way and then you look straight at the mirror and it's not what you expected at all. A good rule of thumb is just to just start off with a little bit of product and then slowly build your way up, because it's a lot easier to add than it is to try to take away. So I'm just gonna build up that orange. Okay, now that I have built up that color, I forgot to tell you guys the name of this brush. This is a Morphe 518 brush. I love this brush for buffing out shadows and starting the transition shade. It really just helps to give me a nice amount of pigment, and the shadows blend so well with these brushes. Okay, so from the same exact palette, I'm gonna go in with the shade No Joke, which is this bright yellow right here. The exact same brush, dust off the excess, and I'm gonna apply that right above our transition shade, in between that and the brow bone, just to give it a nice transition into that orange. And same thing, I'm just using packing motions, just to make sure I don't disrupt that base underneath. Ooh, that's pretty, like a sunset. I'm gonna go back in just a little bit more with No Joke, and just to redefine that. The key to making sure that your shadows are super blended is to constantly go back in and repeat the exact same steps. So whatever color you just ended up going in with, go in with that exact same color again after you've added another color. This is what's going to help to make sure that none of your colors get lost over top of one another and they just have a nice seamless blend. A lot of people ask me how I kind of choose colors that work out together. Well, it really just has to do with the undertones of colors that you have to worry about matching up. So since I use that kind of burnt orange, I know that an undertone of that would be obviously yellow. But say if I'm going in with a purple, another undertone that goes into that would be pink. So then you would know that like pink and purple would be complementary colors to one another. You'll kind of get the hang of it the more that you practice with eyeshadow, but it definitely just causes for a lot of practice. And then palettes like these, they kind of help you out too, because they already give you the colors in their like color range. But then again, you can always mix around throughout the palette. Okay, now that I have that transition nice and blended, I'm gonna go in with the Morphe 514, which is similar to the 518, but this one is a little bit more tapered. So this is what we're gonna use to focus this right into our crease. I think I'm gonna switch over into a different palette now. I'm gonna use this Mini Chocolates palette from Juvia's Place. Super cute. I just recently got this palette and I was using it on my clients and I was like, this palette blends like butter. So I'm gonna take, which shadow is it? Oh, why do they not have names? That's weird. I'm gonna take this red brown right here and apply that to the tip of my brush, and then I'm going to focus that right in my crease, starting from the outer corner of my eye. And same thing, I'm just going to blend that inwards. Notice how I'm tilting my head back, because this also helps me to gauge where the socket of my eye is. In other words, where my crease would be. And then I'm just lightly buffing out the edges of that and building that color up. Okay, and then same thing on the small brush. I'm going back in with Homeboy, which was that burnt orange, and applying that right above that color that we added to that crease, that deeper brown. Again, just to make sure that we are creating a nice seamless blend. Going back in with the color that had the yellow, buffing out the edges. All we're doing is repeating steps. I'm gonna do the same thing to this eye and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that both sides are built up to my liking, I'm just going to make this a little bit darker by going in with this deeper brown right here. Taking that on the same Morphe tapered brush, I'm gonna focus that really close to my lash line and right on the outer corner of my eye. I really don't want to make this too dark, but I want to add just a little bit more definition right here in the crease. And I'm using just a little bit of product at a time to build that up. And again, you guys, using packing motions just to make sure that you are not moving around any product too much. Because I have almond eyes and they are kind of small, so I like to kind of blow out my eyeshadow towards the end. It just makes my eyes look a little bit more open. So in order to do that, you want to just focus it on the very outside corner of your eye and focus on blending out towards your brow bone. So when I'm packing these shadows, I'm making sure to align with my lower lash line, because that's what's going to help give me that shape. But then the way that I am blending is outward towards the tail of my brow bone without actually making the shadow go all the way out there. Which also is why we put the setting powder beforehand, to make sure that these colors don't really transfer too much. Because if we did not, then there would just be wet concealer that the shadow would automatically stick to. But not, because we did our steps before. I'll show you guys on this eye because it might be a little bit better. Adding some of that to my brush and then tapping that right on the outer edge. I'm literally on my lash line, focused right in the crease of my eye. In small packing motions, because I do not want this color to transfer. And again, making sure I'm focusing on blowing that out towards the tailbone, towards the tail of my brow, not the tailbone. Repeating the same steps by going in with that brick red shadow from the exact same chocolates palette, just to make sure that that color doesn't get lost. Another way that you can make sure that you're blowing it out is to start blending the shadow on your lower lash line and flicking upwards. That automatically helps to gauge where to place it would be. Taking that fluffy brush that had the yellow, just because we want to redefine that area and make sure it has a nice transition. This is another reason why when we added our concealer, we want to make sure it's blended out almost to like the highest point of your cheekbone, just to make sure that once you apply shadow right there, it sticks and you can really get that blown out shadow look you're looking for. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to take the Morphe C00. This is literally a white concealer, which is perfect for cutting the crease. And so I'm just going to take a couple drops of that on the back of my hand, and then a Morphe 124. I promise I am not doing an advertisement for this brand or nothing. I really enjoy using their products. They have really good products. A lot of people ask me what are my favorite go-to products, and just brands off top is Morphe, Juvia's Place, Maybelline, MAC, NYX, and e.l.f. Those are my main brands that I like to shop at for makeup. And I have definitely tried some of the more like popular name brand makeup lines, but I just find that pigment is just like, I don't know, the drugstore brands are getting it. It's something that they're getting that the upscale high-end brands are not. But then also you got to think about the demographic that those brands are catering towards, and they're not really towards people who are looking to do full glam makeup or dramatic looks and stuff like that. So it definitely makes sense, but I mean, I would love to shop those brands too if they had it going on like the rest, but no, they don't. So, oh well. I'm just going to start cutting the crease, and I like to use small packing motions when cutting the crease, as opposed to just dragging the brush across my lid, because I get a lot more precision this way. So I'm not going to talk during this part because I literally just don't breathe at all when I cut my crease because it's too much. Okay. And I'm going to cut this crease straight across my lid. I'm going to stop about midway, and I'm going to start to focus this crease on going downwards because I don't want to cover up any of this work that we focused on doing in the crease. So I'm really just making sure to apply this where the shadow really isn't. I do typically like to use a pencil brush, like this one. There we go. So taking a pencil brush, and this is a really dense pencil brush, and I'm just gonna buff out the outer edge of this concealer. And I find that doing flicks inwards helps to buff out that concealer without it transferring too far in the corner. Okay, I'm feeling like I want to be a little bit extra, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of that deeper brown, but I'm going to focus this a little bit higher in my crease. I'm not really starting right here because I think I want to do a colored liner. I'm using very, very tiny packing motions, like so small. Now that my crease is cut, I'm going to go off camera and do this eye, and I will be right back. Okay, so I am done cutting both creases. I've been following this makeup artist on Instagram, Makeup by Tiffany J, and her work is absolutely amazing. I've been following her for a minute, but her work is so amazing. She just recently did this look that was kind of similar to the sunset eye, and it reminded me of it, and I want to do a colorful eyeliner with this look. I am thinking of going in with My Man from the Jaclyn Hill 2 palette and doing like a dramatic wing with this color. What do you guys think? I think that would be really pretty. Yep, I'm gonna do it. Before I do that, I'm just going to set this lid because it is already creasing up on me. Let me pack this back down. I added just a little bit more yellow on the inner corner of my brow because it was not blended enough for me. Anyways, I'm just going in with this other Morphe palette, and I'm just taking a matte white out of there. This is the Morphe 35B. You can literally use any matte white eyeshadow. I'm just going to pack that on my lid, and this is just with a flat eyeshadow brush. But I'm making sure not to go too close to my lash line because I am going to go in with makeup remover just so I can create that cut. Okay, so I'm just going to take a makeup wipe, and I'm just going to remove the makeup where I plan to have my wing liner. Oh my god, I could literally ruin the look like this. Let me start talking before I mess up. I did it. I did it. The way she said that you could do this on her video, she said to just take a white concealer and then just pack the eyeshadow on top of the concealer. So I'm gonna use a small angled brush I'm gonna take this small angled eyeliner brush and I am going to start filling in the area where I took off the makeup. Okay, and I'm kind of taking this out a little far, just because when I go in to clean it up with the makeup wipe, I just want to make sure that that color is nice and saturated on there. I'm gonna use a very small dense brush because I'm not about to play myself, and I'm gonna go in with that shade from the Jaclyn Hill 2 palette. It's called My Man, and I'm gonna start packing that over top of that concealer. Okay, let me clean it up so I can see what it will look like, and then I'm gonna do the other eye off camera because I'm not gonna lie to you, this took a minute to do, and I feel like I could focus more not on camera. That would suck if I just messed it up just doing this. Okay, I mean, yes. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. Watch one of my clients gonna want this look, and I'm like, girl, do you know how long this took me to do? The focus that I had to do? But it's okay. I'll do it for you, boo. Okay, so both eyes are done. This one is a little bit higher than the other, but I don't have the time to go back and try to fix it, so we're just gonna deal with it. I went in and applied a little bit of mascara to my little lashes, and I'm gonna take these lashes from my shop HallayahSade collection in the style Bossy. I will definitely leave that link down below for you guys to shop my new arrivals. I'm just going to size these to my eye. These are 25mm lashes, but because they're so wispy, oh, I love these. They don't look like too much, even on small almond eyes like mine. And the staggered, you can still see what's going on the lid. So I'm just sizing it to my eye to see how much I'm gonna have to cut off. And I'm also gonna use my HallayahSade tweezers. You can shop those on the site as well. And then I'm just gonna use Duo Glue for this. You guys, I do plan on adding lash glue to my collection. I've just been sampling out a couple of different vendors, so once I feel like I have chosen one that is good enough, I will definitely be adding that to my site as well. I'm the type of person where I have to literally try it out a couple of times. Anything that's even with like these lashes before even launching, I was trying so many samples. If you want to see that video, I'll insert it somewhere on the screen so that you guys can watch kind of like the background preliminary work that has to be done into running your own business, and just some of the things that I did, simple 9 steps that I did before launching, that could definitely be beneficial for you if you are planning to launch a business anytime soon. And it doesn't just apply for lash businesses, it literally can be for any business, just different ideas of what you can do, how to market whatever you're launching, and branding and all that good stuff. Okay, lashes are on. So for skin, I have been using Maybelline Fit Me, and I am in the shade 338 Spicy Brown. When it is the winter time, I kind of mix 335 and 338 because 335 is a little bit more of like the yellow, and 338 pulls a little bit more warmer. So I would definitely say I'm a lot more warm right now. And I'm just gonna apply that with my finger. And I am not focusing this foundation too far underneath of my eyes, just because I'm gonna be going in with some full coverage concealers, which are already gonna give me enough coverage up under there. And then this is my favorite foundation brush right now. This is the e.l.f. Blurring brush. You can literally get it anywhere. You can get it at Walgreens, Walmart, Target, Ulta. And it just really helps to buff everything in. I have bought so many of these just because it's my favorite. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of color correcting first, and I am using the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealers once again. And I'm just gonna color correct around my mouth area. Just because in pictures, sometimes it pulls like a little bit ashy. I don't know why, but I think because I have a little bit of discoloration in that area, so it catches the light weird, but I'm just gonna pounce that in. Okay, now I'm gonna mix deep olive and light beige. I know my foundation looks a little bit red, and that's fine because I like to go in with a lot of highlighting concealers, so it's gonna all balance out. Just wait, give me a second. I'm gonna go in first with deep olive from the Hydrating Concealers from e.l.f. And a little bit goes a long way. It looks like I put a lot, but that's actually a thin layer. This concealer is just super full coverage, and it definitely lasts as long as it says it lasts. It is a 16-hour wear concealer, and I definitely can say you're good. You are good with this concealer. I absolutely love the coverage that it gives. And e.l.f. did a good job with their shade ranges. I don't know who on their team, but they did a really good job at the different colors that they offer with this concealer. Now, if they can just get their foundations to match the variety of concealers, we will be cool. I might just start wearing e.l.f. foundation. And then I'm applying that lighter medium beige just on the highest points of my face. That went a little crooked, but it's fine. I haven't really been lining the top of my brow bone, but I have started to just do just the very tail end, just because I like when that looks a little bit sharper. So I'm just gonna mix a little bit of deep chestnut and deep olive, just because I want it to be really similar to my skin tone, but still highlight a little bit. So literally I just start from the arch and go to the tailbone, and that's all I do. I don't really sharpen it up here because I don't like it looking too boxy, so I just kind of leave that alone and only focus on the end. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this Morphe M536 brush. This is my favorite brush to blend in concealer. It's a tapered buffing brush, and again, packing motions only, because you do not want to have any streaks in any part of your makeup, sis. And see how because we use two different concealer shades underneath of our eyes, we're creating a gradient rather than it just being completely bright concealer and then your foundation shade. And the crazy thing is, I feel like I started using these concealers, like, I'm not even kidding, 6 months ago. Like, if you go back in my makeup tutorials from the beginning of this year, I was using these hydrating concealers, but I feel like now they're starting to get more attention. But I'm like, I've been on game. Okay, I'm just gonna use a smaller brush to get in these hard to reach areas. When I contour my nose, I don't like to use a darker concealer. I just let the foundation work as like my contour, and I only highlight the highest points of my face. If you didn't already know, I like a pretty bright under eye, so I'm gonna go in with MAC's Pro Longwear Concealer, and this is in the shade NC42. And I'm just gonna use that right underneath the highest points of my eye, just to give me a really just poppin' highlight. And then I'm gonna take that directly down the center of my nose. And that's what really helps to give that chiseled look without you having to go in with a darker concealer and makes it look a lot less harsh. See how snatched it looks? See how the shade of foundation is kind of like coming together now that I have added these lighter concealers? It definitely helps to make sure that your face doesn't look so much brighter than the rest of your body, just by doing maybe like a hair darker of foundation. Only if you like to go in like me with super bright concealers to highlight different parts of your face. If not, sis, don't do that. Don't do that, because it will look very bright. I meant very dark. But I'm gonna go in with Rich Cocoa, and this is just the regular e.l.f. concealer, the first one that they came out with. I'm actually very glad that they came out with the hydrating one, because these were the first ones that I was using, but these are so drying that it just I just applied that along my cheekbones, underneath my chin, right above, and then on my cupid's bow, just to give it that natural definition. And then using that same foundation brush, I'm just going to buff that in, making sure to focus that right in the hollows of my cheekbone. And then I want to make sure this doesn't get blended too high, because I want to make sure that it just lifts my cheekbones. So I'm going back in with that tapered brush. I didn't add any more concealer on the brush. I'm just making sure that contour shade doesn't go any higher. I'm very much so impressed with the direction that the e.l.f. brand is going in. Give me a little buttle chin. Okay, I'm just gonna take a little mini Real Technique sponge and the Juvia's Place Kalahari setting powder, and I'm just gonna set right underneath of my eyes and everywhere that I added that brighter color. Let me make sure your concealer does not have any creases underneath the eyes. It probably will, because we haven't set it with any powder, so it's literally just a liquid sitting on your face. And I am pressing that into the skin, almost blending it in all the way, but still letting it bake a little bit. By buffing it out a little bit on the edges, it just makes sure that when we go in to add like our bronzer and our blushes, and even when we wipe this bake away, it doesn't stick to certain parts of our concealer. I'm kind of focusing majority of the bake towards the inner corner of my eye, and then as I go outwards, it's almost just fading into the rest of my face. Oh, I really be hoping that this stuff makes sense, because this is exactly why I don't do talk through tutorials, because I feel like I need time to process what I'm trying to say. And doing this as I go, it's just whatever is coming off the top of my head. I'm gonna take that straight down the bridge of my nose too. And then right in just the center in between the brows. And I'm actually going to really pack this one in, because I don't like the look of letting that powder sit for too long right in between that area, because it just makes it look really dry. Like I said, that is one of the main reasons why I didn't put any of the pore refining primer on my forehead, because I don't like the look of just a dry, crunchy, flaky forehead. Okay, and now I'm going to take Gobi from Juvia's Place powders, and this is what I'm going to use to set around my mouth area, and then also sharpen up this contour. So I'm really pouncing this into the skin. I'm almost using this as my face powder. Well, not almost, I am using this as my face powder. and focusing it right in my smile lines. It's actually good to use a loose powder. This is one that I would prefer, but it's good to use a loose powder and a little beauty sponge. This is kind of sort of damp, not really, in your smile line areas, because it helps to set that area where there is product, because these are setting powders, so they are meant to basically absorb whatever is underneath. That is why sometimes setting powders can make you look extremely dry. So pouncing it in with somewhat of a damp sponge helps to level out that dryness. But I don't really get smile lines as hard. Like, I smile a lot, but when I do this little trick, they really are not that bad at all. Like, am I thirsty? Do I need some water? And then I'm going to use that just on the very back end of this contour. I want it to look a little bit softer. Sometimes I'll take it all the way in, but that's, honey, if I'm trying to be snatched. Okay, now while the rest of that is baking, I am going to set this contour with MAC Studio Fix powder, and this is in the shade NW45. And I am just going to lightly bounce that over top. And I'm just using a fluffy angled brush. Taking that across my hairline, kind of getting it in my edges, because make this lace disappear. And I'm gonna take that along my jawline a little bit. We're just gonna chisel this chin away. I also like to take that on the sides of my nostrils, because I feel like it just gives it a cute little button. My new favorite blush palette. This is the Saharan Blush Volume 2 palette. And I'm gonna mix Tao and Lena together on this angled brush. And I'm gonna start from the highest point of my cheekbone, almost close to my hairline, and then slowly build my way forward. Gonna kind of flick that out. That is such a pretty blush color. Just a little bit on the tip of my nose, nothing too much. Being very soft-handed, lightly flicking away from my face. Cute. So I'm going to start with the one under my contour first, because I really don't want that harsh line to remain there. Just gonna pack this all in. There's absolutely nothing on this brush. I think this blush that I use has shimmer. Cute. And again, I'm not sweeping it, I'm packing it in, because I do not want this to separate at all. And all this is really doing is just ensuring that your makeup is gonna stay all day, because you are packing these products in. That sounds so bad for your pores. Okay, now taking MAC NC43 and that same little sponge, I'm gonna press this over top of where I used the setting powder. And this is just going to help keep that brightness, but also make it look a little bit more natural, because that Kalahari powder is very yellow. And so this kind of neutralizes it, but helps to give the skin a nice flawless finish and really sets it in place. And then I'm just gonna take that same angled brush. I didn't add any more products, just using the excess product that's on here to make sure that is nice and buffed out. And then taking my Mario Badescu facial spray, I'm going to literally drench my face, but then I'm gonna go right in with the Real Technique sponge and pounce that setting spray into my skin, just to make everything nice and seamless. And I'm being very light-handed with the pouncing, because I don't want to move the product or lift it with the sponge. But what this does is it really works the setting spray, the facial spray, that's a facial spray. And also softens all of the powders so that they kind of morph together. Okay, for highlight, I'm pretty sure this is no surprise, MAC Hyper Real Glow. I really need to work on looking into different highlighters, but I just feel like highlighters is just like a last makeup item that I look for, because you can literally use anything to highlight. You don't have to use an actual highlighter to highlight. So I feel like I just don't shop for highlighters a lot. But let me know down in the comments what your favorite highlighter is. I also like the Artist Couture. I should just start using those instead, because I do have a couple. But I don't know. This highlight just gives me a lot. It's just a little bit softer. Artist Couture is a loose pigment highlighter, so you definitely are getting that bam in your face highlight. And I haven't really been feeling highlight like that crazy lately, so I don't know. And then I'm gonna take a small little pencil brush and I'm gonna highlight on the tip of my nose and right in between my eyes. Instead of doing a straight line down the nose, just do the tip and right in between your eyes. It makes it look a lot more natural. And then on the sides of your nostrils, just for a full glow. And then just a little bit on the center of my chin. Okay, I'm gonna go back into the Jaclyn Hill palette and I'm gonna take that color Homeboy on a small condensed brush. And I'm gonna pack that right underneath of my lower lash line. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a small flat eyeshadow brush. This one's kind of fluffy, it's a dome shape one. And I'm just gonna go in with No Joke and pack that right underneath of that burnt orange. And I do want this to be just a little bit more dark, sultry. So I'm gonna add a little bit of black pencil liner on my waterline. I'm going back in with that dense brush. There's no added product on here, but I just want to lightly smudge out that black. I'll do a light spritz of Fix Plus all over my face just to work everything in. I don't know why I was talking doing that. Okay, so I just went off camera to add a little bit of bottom lash mascara. And then I'm going to go back in with that Hyper Real Glow. Actually, I think I want a brighter, no, that's good. I'm gonna go back in with that Hyper Real Glow palette and a small pencil brush, and I'm just gonna highlight my inner tear duct area with that. Switch into a whole nother palette. Makeup by Ja Clientele palette. I'm gonna use the shade Glow Up. It's literally this icy metallic. There we go. I wanted to add just a little bit more. Lips, I'm gonna use this dark brown lip liner from NK Makeup, and I'm just going to line my lips. I do slightly overline, but not like a lot. And then I'm going in with my favorite lip stain from Rimmel London. This is called Take a Chill Pill. I'm just gonna pack that together. And then I'm just gonna go in with a lighter brown liner. This is Cork from MAC. And I don't like to wear Cork on its own because I feel like for me it's just like too light of a brown for the pale nudes that I like to do. And so it just makes the entire lip look super, super pale. And I don't know, sometimes I like the look, but not all the time. So I'm just going over that dark brown liner because it is a little bit dark for me. Yeah, it's kind of softening it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to top that off with Morphe's Flower Crown Gloss. This is such a pretty pale pink gloss. And then to wrap it all up, just taking a clear gloss right over top, and this kind of just makes the entire lip come together. Love that. I definitely did not bother changing my top because I am going absolutely nowhere. But here is the completed look. I'm I'm pretty happy with the way that this look came out. This wig is from Amazon. I think I might have recorded the tutorial of me installing this wig, but if I did, I will insert that somewhere up on the screen. If not, I will definitely be getting another wig installation of human hair video out to you guys. But for the makeup, I am so excited that this looks so good. It's like soft glam just with a little bit of pop. I am definitely feeling this orange for the summertime. If you guys like this video, make sure that you give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you are notified whenever I upload another video. I am planning on uploading my next one by Thursday. And now that I have a new phone, I can get more vlog content out to you guys too, because I know you guys like to see that as well. But be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys want to see next, how you liked this video, what were your favorite products that I used, favorite techniques, tips, tricks, whatever it is. Let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace.